My name is Jennifer Campeau. I am a 35-year-old female that identifies as she, her. I am in recovery from meth and alcohol addiction. I'll be celebrating 2 years clean on October 29th this year. Yes, thank you. My journey has been phenomenal. I mean, when I look back at it, I am just amazed that I am able to stand here in front of you all today, and that I'm alive, for sure, because I should not be here. And that is something that also keeps me going, is knowing that I am here, and I was given a reason to be here. Here's one of them, to share my story. Like Victoria said, I am a go-getter. Like, I have a goal in mind, and I don't stop until I achieve it, and then it changes, and I achieve it better, and it just keeps going from there. I was born and raised in East Grand Forks, Minnesota. I had a pretty great childhood. My parents, I love telling their story. It's part of my story, their story. I start with them. My dad was a bouncer at a bar called the Spud. There's a Spud Junior, which is a phenomenal place now, and it was attached to Red Pepper East, which is a little restaurant, like the sister to Red Pepper. I don't know if you guys know, that's like a really popular place in Grand Forks. So my dad was a bouncer. My mom worked behind the counter making tacos for people, and my dad would take care of all the drunks at the end of the night, and my mom would give them free food. That's how the story was told. A few months later, I was conceived and born. Nobody on my dad's side of the family knew about me until the day I was born. My dad is a Native American family, Native American culture and heritage. My mom is European and comes from a pretty middle-class family. Went to Sacred Heart, Catholic school, private school, all of her siblings. She's the youngest of 5. My dad was the middle of 6. Grew up like really dirt poor, my dad did, in Walhalla, North Dakota. Bounced around, was part of a lot of what I learned later on. Was there was programs offered to Native Americans to give them skills. I can't remember the name of it though, but just a lot different. They were very different from each other, but they ended up together. And they didn't get married till I was 2, but they did get married, and they were together until my father passed away in 2015. They worked really hard. They worked 5 jobs between the 2 of them to buy a house and give us a life that, especially for my father, that he never had. But what happened in that working 5 jobs and trying to prove themselves to everyone that they could do it, they weren't always there for me and my younger brother as they should have. It's not, now I can see that that's how life goes. But I was really angry about that a lot because it left myself and my younger brother vulnerable to prolonged sexual abuse by some babysitters. So that started when I was about 4 and went till I was 9, and nobody knew. Nobody knew. I was very good at hiding it. I was so starved for attention that it was attention, right? We know that now. We know that that's, usually how it goes. Like, I enjoyed it, I liked it, so I wanted it. So it just really messed up my way of thinking. And I didn't tell anybody because it was the side of my family, which is my dad's family, that really was more accepting, more family oriented. My mom's side of the family was really, they went to church on Sunday, but they didn't live that way. You know what I mean? I don't know how else to explain it. It just didn't resonate with me. I was forced to go to church, which confused me even more because I didn't see the world the way that I was being shown it was supposed to be. So it kind of just really twisted my brain a lot. And I started acting out. I went from being a very happy child to withdrawn, I was very active in extracurricular activities, writing groups outside of school, sports. I wrote for the Grand Forks Herald teen page when that was a thing, on the A honor roll. And I credit a lot of that to my grandmother, my mom's mom, who was a school teacher before she became a homemaker. And she just instilled in me a value and a love for reading and learning, and always told me that you can go anywhere in a book. And you can, so my biggest getaway was reading books. Anything I could get and do to get out of what was going on and kind of, just check out for a while, I was taking advantage of. So that in turn really helped me grow in my intelligence and my ability to write and learn. Like it just, it was a beautiful thing. So around the age of 11, 12, my grandma died. And my mom told me the morning that it happened and then made me go to school. That is the precedence for how I knew how to grieve. That set the precedence for grief, learning how to grieve for me. You just keep going, right? There was no learning how to grieve. There was no acknowledging the feeling, the loss, nothing. You just keep going. So that's what I learned. I learned to just keep bottling everything inside. But then as I entered adolescence, those emotions, those hormones are just not manageable. I began to smoke cigarettes, hang out with a crowd that was into drugs, and their parents didn't care what they did. My parents were still trying, doing their best, and they didn't know about the other trauma that had occurred still. I started running away from home. I spent most of my age of 13 to 2 months before I turned 16 in juvenile detention. I had some amazing social workers from Polk County. I don't know if anybody knows who Brad Hillman is, and Beth Greenwood. Yeah, okay, yeah, and she just took the time to listen to me, tell me that I was amazing, all those things I craved that I didn't get, just built my confidence and told me that I was capable and that I could do things, that I could achieve, and I was intelligent, and I was smart, and I was beautiful, and I had an amazing smile. Just all those things that really I needed to hear that I hadn't heard. And so I spent a lot of time in juvenile detention, a lot. Juvenile detention I thrived in. I cannot be successful on the outside. I was always trying to get away from home. It was very chaotic. My dad struggled with addiction in the form of alcohol, food, painkillers. Painkillers came out when I was, at that age. That's when OxyContin and all those different painkillers were really overprescribed to people. I just recently watched Painkiller on Netflix, and I was super triggered because my dad, it was just like that. It was insane, and so many people relate to that. So it was normal for my aunts and my uncles on my dad's side to just kind of trade their painkillers. One would run out and the other would have them, and that was just normal to me. That was just okay, whatever, because they were so prescribed then, and that plays on later on in my addiction life. But when I got out of juvie the last time, I had completed, so I would go to school and I would fail my classes out in the world. But when I would get locked up, I had an amazing, phenomenal teacher. I don't know if you guys know who that was at that time. During that time, her name was Kathy Bockendryden. It was her and her husband who were the teachers there. She passed away from cancer, I believe, several years ago, and I cried over that because she was another person that just believed in me and trusted me and told me I could, and just encouraged me, and I thrived, right? Who would think that would be what I needed? Unfortunately, my parents were very wrapped up in their own. My mom, later I would find out, is an adult child of an alcoholic. My dad had his own, all those factors that we know now that we weren't really aware of then. And I'm thankful that I had the social workers that I did. I ended up getting pregnant 2 months after I got out of juvie the last time. I went from having the almost 4-year stretch of just being on a tight leash to having complete freedom. My parents went like total opposites of each other. And I was when I found out I was pregnant, I was like, oh, this is it. I know this sounds horrible, but this is the honest truth. Like, this is what's going to make me feel whole, right? I had this hole that that needed love, and I thought a baby would fill that hole. And I tried really hard. For a long time to be a good mom, but I had a lot of mental health issues. I decided that I was going to go to college. I started at the tech. I did okay. I failed. I really started drinking around that time too. Like, I didn't really do drugs. I hung out with the people that did and acted like I'd done drugs. I know that sounds crazy and I get like looked at really weird, but it was like, I was scared. I was really scared because I knew that that's not what I wanted to do, but the people that did them were like, just like me, you know? So I just kind of skirted around it for a long time, and alcohol was okay because I was in Grand Forks, North Dakota. We liked to party. I was, 17. I remember going to my first AA meeting when I was 17 in Grand Forks and getting up and talking and saying, I'm 17. I'm not done yet, And again, I loved the people in those rooms. I loved the connection and the acceptance that they all gave me, and I continued to go to that for a little bit until I started dating my oldest son's father, and he drank a lot. He was 24. I lied about my age. I said I was 17 turning 18. I was 16 turning 17. My parents let him move into the basement, and then 3 months later I was pregnant. I don't know how that happened. Who would thought, right? So, like I said, it was just this in-between period where I was trying to figure out who I was. I was a brand new teen mom. I knew I was intelligent because I was told that, and I could do anything I put my mind to, but I didn't know how to get there. I didn't have the tools in my toolbox really to accomplish it. I had all these surface ideas, like you do this step, and then everything's going to be okay. Like, as long as you have this, as long as you have a car, a place, your degree, like, you're going to be okay. But the feelings and the emotions that were so strong and painful, I had no idea how to deal with them, except to keep going. And then alcohol was how I medicated it, and I numbed it, and it was okay. And I was able to function for a while until we found out that my son had a rare form of liver disease when he was 3 years old. So it was right before I turned 21, or right after. Oh geez, I'm missing a whole part. I apologize. There was his father ended up going to jail for alcohol, drunk driving. He was in jail. I was cheating on him with his friends. I used his checkbook to get diapers and give him money and put money on his books. And when he got out and found out I was cheating on him, he pressed charges against me. So I got a gross misdemeanor because I had done that to my parents. When I'd run away, I'd steal their checkbook too. So, the prosecutor saw, even though I don't know, there was some confusion because it was supposed to be sealed, but whatever. It happened how it happened, and I take responsibility for it. It was wrong. And I was on house arrest, and then I got off house arrest. I did 90 days of house arrest, or 30 days of house arrest, and it was weird because it wasn't drug related. So I would have house arrest parties, and all my friends would come over, and we would get shit-faced, like schmammered. And it was so I just kind of skirted away. I just got away with it because I wasn't doing things that were a direct cause from alcohol. But eventually, with my son and his disease and the care required for him, His paternal grandmother would start like reporting me to CPS because I would party all the time, and he would be late to school, and she was worried he wasn't getting his medications, but he was. I was taking really, I had not really good care. Really good care in the mindset of how I was taken care of as a child. There was no emotional needs really being met. So he had all the physical things he needed, but there was no emotional connection, really. I lose my train of thought. I have ADHD, or it was all the years of drugs. I'm not sure yet, but here we go. I decided to move to Moorhead. My social worker, Brad Hillman, had told me, just mentioned, I grabbed onto this. He mentioned that he went to Minnesota State University Moorhead for his social work degree. And so I was like, I'm going to do that because I want to be like him. He was amazing. So we moved not only to be closer to a better doctor for my son, but for that reason as well, two birds, one stone kind of concept. I really desperately wanted a better life for us. I really was trying to do all the things I was told to do or shown to do, and that would give us a better life. Ultimately, not addressing the mental illness or the trauma sent me into a spiral of alcoholism, and my college transcripts are up and down and up and down, and I made a career out of going to college. I don't recommend doing that. When I got to where I'm at now, they had never seen so many holds or different kinds of holds on college transcripts. I was introduced to meth at a certain point, and that was the answer to everything. All of my problems. That turned off all the negative self-talk. It turned off everything. It gave me energy. It gave me life. My son's school was so happy. He was on time. I was showing up. I was attentive. I was listening. His counselor, his therapist, everybody was so happy. For years, nobody knew that I was using meth to do this. And I'm not sure how, but I was able to stop for a period of time, and then I created a playlist of music to listen to come down on so I could get through that pain of and not asking for more. It was weird. It's weird. It still weirds me out today, but it's also why I'm able to be standing in front of you, because I have a mindset of I can do this. I can accomplish anything I put my mind to, whether it's to get drugs, to be not healthy, or to be healthy, happy, thriving, and contributing to my community. Whatever side of the river I'm on, I can accomplish it all. So there's some underlying themes in my story. One of them is trauma. One of them is, I would hope that you would hear, tenacity, resilience. I show up. Today I show up. Struggling with the addiction. My son had a liver transplant. I was in abusive relationship after abusive relationship. I mean, we've all heard the same story, but the thing that I believe sets me apart is I have an entrepreneurial mindset. I have a get it done mindset, and that is because I never had the models that I needed. I have searched them out. Who's got it? Who's doing it? Who's been through this and come out the other side, and how can I be like that? And so I find, like I said, my teachers in juvie, my social workers, my MFEP workers, the system, who I still have my biggest resentment towards, because until I was 23, I didn't talk about the sexual abuse. So that really set a precedent for the rest of my life, and I know it still affects some decisions that I make today because I just keep things secret. I just don't want to talk about it, and it needs to be talked about. So that's why living in recovery has been such a blessing because it's all about honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. And that is the foundation for living with integrity for me. There's been so many things that I have said that I was going to do and never finished. From a lot of it is a fear of success. I know how to fail very well, and I know how to set myself up to fail. Self-sabotage is very, very easy for me. What wasn't easy was being successful. So this last time around, when I went to treatment, I got excited over making a grocery list, over taking the time to look at the grocery ad, to write it all down, to budget it, to meal plan. And I celebrated every single one of those things for I dedicated a whole treatment session to month to just being able to do that. So I would lose the fear of success and start to break the cycle of self-sabotage. Because if I'm not celebrating those small wins, I'm not going to be able to handle the big ones, and I'm going to mess it all up. I had set a goal to become a peer support. I had set a goal to finish my college degree. I had set a goal to build my credit. I had set a goal to be a better parent. And I still struggle with all of those. Just the last few weeks, I have started school. That goal is happening. As of 2015, I was a year and a half away from my bachelor's degree in social work. And now I'm going back to finish it. I never give up. I take everything as a opportunity. This is an incredible opportunity. It's my first time, like I said, being able to share, so it might be a little all over the place, but I appreciate you taking the time to listen. I live my life in gratitude for everything, because everything about addiction is selfish and pitiful and very angry, and I flip it. So what is the opposite of what the addiction is how I live today. And that has gotten me farther in the last 22 and a half months than the previous 33 years of my life. There is nothing that could stop me. I have catastrophized every possible thing and come up with something to counteract it, specifically advocating for anything that happens, because there's always going to be somebody else who's going through it too. I feel like my higher power set me on this path to create empathy, because I feel like empathy is something that I lacked due to my life experiences. But I can tell you now today, because of the life experiences caused by that, I have empathy for every single person that possible. And I'm willing to take off my rose-colored glasses, is what I call them. You know, we use that term. I'm willing to shed those and step into other people's and try other people's on, just because I've seen I've lived through and seen the ugliest side of our societies and our humanity, and I've been part of that. I've been the ugliest side, and I'm not perfect by any means, but I'm here today, and my kids are doing great. What I was getting to is I've been struggling the last few weeks adjusting to my new work schedule as a peer support, and being back in college and being a mother. And so I signed myself up for a parenting class to help me get back on track with that, because it's something that I never got, was like, I don't know how to give, and I always miss it. And then but now being in recovery, I'm able to see my children having behaviors, and I'm able to acknowledge that and be like, what am I doing? Like, what am I not doing? You know, because for them, that's what it comes down to. And so now I'm taking Love and Logic. NDSU Extension, Grand Forks County offers these amazing parenting classes that I've been taking for years and years. I wish I was able to, get that with my older son. I haven't seen or talked to him in over 5 years. That is a pain. It hurts. But I also understand how angry he is, because I know how angry I was with my mom for not being able to give me what she never had either. And I pray and hope that someday, he's going to be 18 next year, that I pray for him to find release from the anger, because it'll destroy you. Holding on to that anger destroys you. So I pray for that every day. And then I just pray to be better than what I was yesterday, and what steps can I take? I really believe that every individual is different, and in order to help them, we have to listen to their story. And then we go from there. It's not a one-size-fits-all. I went through CPS with my son. I was like, jump through these hoops, do this, that, the next thing, and I did all the things, and it wasn't what I needed. So as I go into my next journey of being a peer support, I have said many times when we talk about those scenarios that could come up in trainings, I'm like, I'm going to listen to what this person has to say. What are their resources that they have now? What are their experiences that they've had? I know for me personally, this last time with CPS, I was able to keep my children, even though it was pretty dark. And that's because I had family members that weren't using, that were healthy, that I got to stay with the kids while I was getting better. And that was huge. That was a game changer, because with my oldest son, I didn't get to. And that, has a lot to do with the way the system is set up. My child had his paternal grandma willing to take him, so there he goes. These two, nobody would take them, and that plays a big factor into it. And maybe you can explain it a little different to me, but there's been no encouragement for a relationship in the 5 years. So it's, I've made peace with it because it was the best option I had at the time. I was not capable of taking care of him. And I did fight for a little while. I did the parental capacity, all the questionnaires, met with her 3 times. I might have been high 2 or 3 of the 4 times, but the last one I'd realized, and I came to my own conclusion that I could not care for him. And I chose to let him go ultimately, and again, with that choice came the possibility that I wouldn't have a relationship, and that is what happened. So, you have to find acceptance, and I think that's a lot of what kept me from asking for help or reaching out this last time, is that I was terrified that I wasn't going to get to keep my kids again. Because there really wasn't, I had experience, the decisions we make are off of experiences we've had. So it's really important to listen to what the person has been through and understand where the decisions came from. So that's what I got today. As a peer support, that's what I choose. Everybody is going to be different. I've been able to do some outreach activities in the community. The first one was on Sunday, and it was the Tears Walk. I created a little activity. I picked up some free corkboard, threw together, had a pack of note cards, got my employer to order me some butterfly pins and markers, and did a little writing activity, because I do have a background. I love to write. I love to journal. I love to read, just to gauge what our community is looking for as far as recovery goes. And this one is for recovery. And then I have the one for suicide prevention and mental well-being, if anybody's interested in reading through this. It is very powerful and impactful to me and others that I've utilized it for. I am doing a community naloxone training on September 23rd at the East Grand Forks Campeau Library. And I can do them here, I can do them anywhere that anybody wants them. And then for this one, I only ordered 40 naloxone kits to give out. And yeah, Peer support, one-to-one, I've been there. I know what it's like. Like I said, I have that like, and then I'm still a social worker, so I still get to do social work without the degree. But the degree is going to come. I have a dream, I'll say it out here because I believe in manifestation, to finish my social work degree, to get a master's in public health, and to work in policy and legislation. I'm already checking out different commissioner groups in the state of Minnesota, advisory panels, advisory councils to get onto. I am a board member for the Greater Grand Forks Women's Leadership Cooperative, which is an amazing organization that does promotes networking and educational opportunities for professional women wherever they're at in their journey in our community. And I mean, that's all just in 22 months. This is just all in a month. So I mean, yeah, there's the sky's the limit. If you have any questions, let me know. I do have a video that I would like to share with you that I find really inspirational, that pumps me up, that I utilize as a tool to keep going. So I think I gotta log in, so it'll just take like a minute, and then I'll be available to talk with you if you have any questions. Thank you.